Yeah, there's many of them that come to mind, but this may be a little unusual. I'm going to share 3 of them with you. The first was our dear coach Dodo. For some reason, he was just really talking about teamwork, team play, and our respective roles on the basketball team, and pushing it hard for about a week. Some of us realized that, but we just went around about our business, preparing for the next game. And we went to Olean, New York. And there we played Division I, St. Bonaventure, who, by the way, at that time, I know they were nationally ranked. I think they were in the top 15 of the country. And they had an All-American, I'll never forget him, named Tom Stith. And I won't forget him because I had an opportunity to play against him for a portion of the game. But anyway, make a long story, an interesting story short, we just played a heck of a game. His comments paid off. It was as good a teamwork as I had seen for a long time. We worked very hard in that game, and we came so close to pulling a major upset in college basketball. We all felt badly about it. By the same token, though, here's Dodo, as he always does. He dwelled on the positives, and there were many in that game. Never demeaning, never came across with a very negative attitude. It wasn't his style. That I appreciated for all of my 4 years at St. Vincent. So we licked our wounds, but we felt good that we played so hard and that we did do everything that we could do to win that game. Then, in my sophomore year, kind of a bad event, but it had a silver lining. In preseason practice, I broke my hand. So I had to have surgery at Latrobe Hospital, which was successful. Needless to say, it was so difficult to sit on the sidelines there and not be participating. But by the same token, once again, my coach and my teammates came to the rescue. Dodo was absolutely insistent that I still be an integral part of the team. I was there for practices. We talked a lot. I talked with some of the players, a counsel of some kind, if I were permitted to do so. But anyway, and they came through. What a bunch. They never let me forget I was a part of that team. So one day I'm on the sidelines there talking with Dodo, and I'm talking to him about my goals and so forth. And he looks at me and he says, "Bob," and I'll never forget this, he says, "If you really want it, just go and get it," in his little soft-spoken manner by which he comes across. And believe me, I've never forgotten that. So that experience, even though it was a bad one, was quite a good one when all things were considered. It made me hungry as ever to come back by next year. Then there was another event that I can't forget. We played Westminster College. Here we go again. Played at SVC. Westminster was ranked #1 in the country, small colleges. They had a great team. We knew it was going to be a hard game, but we got together collectively and said, "Let's go, guys. We need to win this one for Dodo." Once again, we really played hard. I was so proud of the team. And fortunately, in that game, I was able to pull down 24 rebounds. So after the hard loss, I felt good about the rebounds, but I have to tell you, this is the worst I've ever felt in my whole athletic career with regard to a loss. The reason for it, that I knew it and the team knew it, Dodo really wanted this game more than any game we had played. But once again, he comes through, and we respected his comments after the game. So those are probably the 3 events. 2 games of which we didn't win, 1 for an injury, but yet special memories. Okay, most memorable time for me at St. Vincent, that's easy. Hands down, it was my senior year. We didn't conquer the world, and it wasn't successful in terms of wins and losses. We won a few, or we won, less games than we won, but anyway. That was the most enjoyable year I've ever had playing sports, high school and college, because we actually came together as a team that I had never had the honor of playing for. We played for each other, we respected each other, and probably most importantly, every person on that team knew what their respective role was. We knew what we were out on that floor to do, and we played together well. It's one time out of several, of course, that if you're out on that floor and you were open, you got the ball. We had a great chemistry. The camaraderie is something I shall never forget. So I guess that year taught me a lot. And Dodo, there he is again. His counsel and advice, and I will say this, every time I had an issue, a little problem, or something of that nature, and we would talk, he would always come forward with some counsel that was in support of the Benedictine community principles and values. That, of course, I began to appreciate at St. Vincent. So if I may, I'm going to be receiving an award in my name. But in reality, this award truly belongs to my coach and my teammates. And I certainly do thank them for that year. The community itself, my athletic endeavors, the competitiveness that was there, and the faculty prepared me very, very well for a 4-year stint in the Navy as a naval officer, prepared me quite well for leadership positions in the business world for many years until I retired. But most importantly, I believe St. Vincent made a man of a boy who came here, and a man that frankly learned how to live and love his family, a respectful father, which I certainly tried to be all the time, married to a wonderful woman for 44 years. We'll celebrate that anniversary this month. 2 great children, 4 great grandchildren. So I appreciated what SVC did for me in my life.
I'd like to thank the nominating committee. What a great honor it was to have Brother Norman give me a phone call and let me know I had been selected to the St. Vincent Athletic Hall of Fame. It gave me a chance to reflect upon my time at St. Vincent and to think about my time as a student athlete. Of course, I'd like to thank my coaches. Sue Hozak was the head coach, and she did a wonderful job of recruiting talented women to play on the volleyball squad. And I'm grateful that I've had that opportunity. I'd like to list the names of all the players, but I wouldn't want to leave anyone out. But what a wonderful group of young women. And I'm glad to say that I'm still friends with a great number of the players that I played with those 4 years. And you know, even though we don't get together as often as I would like, we still, when we do get together, it's as if we never left St. Vincent. I'd also like to thank Coach Robin Klimke. She was the assistant coach whenever I was a player. And she showed us, you know, the benefit of being very well conditioned. She herself was a marathon runner and had played volleyball in her playing days. And we used to split up into drills at volleyball camp where we would scrimmage against each other. And being that I was the only setter, I had to set for both sides of the volleyball court. So even though I was always on the winning team, I was also on the losing team. So I had to run the wind sprints with the losing team. And she showed that conditioning can help us through very long matches and help us prevail in the end. And I do thank her for that, of course. I would like to thank my family, my 2 older sisters who had to put up with many volleyball tournaments and baseball games in the summer, and throughout my whole athletic experience, you know, they were very supportive. And of course, I want to thank my parents. They weren't able to be here tonight, and I know they really wanted to, but they were my biggest fans, and I want to share this with them. And also my husband David and my 2 young children, 6-year-old Sophia and 4-year-old Giuseppe. I know you guys didn't get a chance to see me play volleyball, but I do want to share this moment with you. And Sophia and Giuseppe, you both are at a great age. You're just learning and beginning to see what it's like to be an athlete and starting to participate in sports. And if you stick with it, you know, none of the folks here that are accepting this award tonight were perfect when they first started playing the sports. I want you to know that if you keep to it and practice hard, that great things can happen. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to reflect back to my time at St. Vincent, and I do appreciate accepting this award as part of the 2012 class of the St. Vincent Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Being part of the first group of women here on campus was just unbelievable. It was, to come on campus and, you know, just experience everything that St. Vincent has to offer. I mean, the first time that I walked up onto that court, going to the gymnasium, and it's huge, and there was only a few of us. We didn't even have enough to play a scrimmage game. You know, we had to, you know, the coach had to help out, and our managers had to help out. So being that first group, it was just, the girls themselves, it was just a tight group, and, you know, we had to pull together in tough times and in the good times, or, you know, it was just us. So, you know, if anybody got hurt, they got back up again and kept going, because again, there was just a few of us. So it was really a special time, and you know, and very few people ever have that kind of opportunity to be the first in any organization. And the program has grown so much, it's just incredible. I would have to say that Brother Norman and Father Myron were they were fantastic. I mean, they made a big impact on me. They were there from the beginning, and whether we were on the court or off the court, you know, we could count on those 2 individuals. They were extremely supportive and positive. You know, when we were down, I know I could look over to the bench, and I can see them up there smiling and they'd say, "Come on, let's go." I was like, "Okay, I'm ready." You know, just get back out there again. And even off the court, when around campus, you'd see them around campus, and again, they were just extremely supportive. And I was very fortunate to have Father Myron officiate our wedding ceremony, so that was pretty special too. Every time that we won a game, we had a little song we liked to sing called Buttercup, and there was nothing more special to be able to sing Buttercup. And when we sang Buttercup, we had to stand on something. So we were standing on the bleachers, standing on a chair, and singing Buttercup to the top of our lungs. And even to this day in the car, if I hear that song, you know, I have to sing it out loud and sing it proud, because that was a fond memory of here. And finally graduating as a senior, going through the 4 years, it was a good 4 years, and it was a growing 4 years. And, you know, from the beginning with just a few of us on the court to a full complement on our team, we grew so much, and go from just playing around locally to playing out in Iowa in the National Catholic Basketball Tournament. That was really special. So we grew a lot in just those few years, and I was very proud to be part of it.
The Scranton Royals, they were undefeated. They were 4-0, and St. Vincent was 4-0 also. We played at St. Vincent's Field, and we had an overflow crowd, one of the biggest crowd I think we've ever had at St. Vincent. And fortunately, I had a lot of good blockers, and I was able to score 2 touchdowns and pass for the 3rd as we took a win by 1 point, 21-14. The last touchdown was, we were on the 3-yard line, their 3-yard line. It was 4th down. we needed to score to get the touchdown. And when we went back in the huddle, Herman Esway, my quarterback, or not my quarterback, our quarterback, I said, Herman, give me the GD ball and I'll get it in the end zone. Well, I think this sort of buoyed my blockers. Anyhow, they made we ran a wing T formation, which is a combination of the T formation and the single wing, the old single wing. But anyhow, the play was I was to take a two-back, which was maybe through the 7 hole, which was wide to the left. And I was on my own. I had to get it in the end zone. And as I got near to the 3-yard line, there were 2 defenders, which I rammed into as hard as I could and made a swirly turn to the right. Ended up in the end zone, and eventually that's what won us the game. The next year, we went up to Scranton to play the Scranton Royals again. And this time, they were undefeated. We had lost 1 game. So we were losing 20-7 going into the last quarter. And I scored 2 touchdowns on, it was a flare pass. And a flare pass is when you float out to the right and they throw you a short pass, and then it's up to you. Well, I scored 2 touchdowns from both of them were near the 50-yard line. I don't remember exactly. But this was a tremendous thrill and sort of icing on the cake because we beat them again. And that just goes to show you, you better be ready for the Bearcats because we're coming to town. The headline on the Scranton Times next day said, "Litzinger again ruins the Royals' dreams of an undefeated season." Sort of nice to see your name like that for being such a small guy. I'm losing it. For being such a small man. So I think as far as the influence, it was universal throughout the school. And it was great, just a great place. Had some great friends. We had no girls to bother us at that time. I'm just kidding. But it was certainly an influence throughout my life. And if I had it all to do it over again, I would do the same thing. Go to St. Vincent's and be a Bearcat.
One of the best things that I remember was coming in my freshman year as a new recruit to soccer, and I was under the tutelage of Bob Scott, and we had soccer camp, and you know the Steelers talk about 2-a-day practices and stuff like that, but we had 4-a-days where we had to get up at 5:30. We were doing calisthenics by 6 o'clock, and then we'd do calisthenics until breakfast. After breakfast, we would do individual skills. After lunch, we'd do small group skills. And then after dinner, we would have a full field scrimmage. And after scrimmage, we'd continue to run up Kolb Hill, which is no longer there anymore, but Kolb Hill. And so we wouldn't get to bed until 9 o'clock at night. Those are the strongest memories I have. What conditioning we had back then. So it was pretty amazing. We had a game where we were playing Penn State Barron, I believe, and we won the game 2-1. And it was a game where 2 freshmen had scored. So it was pretty unique that the freshmen had scored. And after the game, I was walking off the field, and the weather wasn't the best. It was wet, it was rainy, I was muddy, sweaty, tired. And one of the upperclassmen, and he was a senior at the time, and you got to know the seniors, and he said, "Hey, you look pretty rugged, Michael O." And then, of course, he probably saw me smiling from ear to ear. He goes, "Even for a freshman, So there I was, a freshman, top of the world, scoring a game-winning goal for a particular game, and then getting that recognition, and then, of course, being put in my place afterwards. So that was one of my most memorable moments for a game at St. Vincent Soccer. Yeah, there were two coaches that I can recall in my mind. Bruno Schwartz, my high school soccer coach, who was one of the winningest coaches in WPIAL, and then here at St. Vincent was Bob Scott. He was only here for 1 year, my freshman year, and it was funny because you'd look at the coach, and there he is, a tiny little scrawny guy, you know, probably in the late 60s, but he was a strong work ethic type of person, and he would play with us every once in a while. There we were, young 20-year-olds, you know, strong and beefy and in shape, but boy, he could out-juke you like you wouldn't believe. You'd be standing there trying to defend him, and all of a sudden he'd be behind you scoring a goal. So I had tremendous respect for Coach Bob Scott.
But I'll tell you, I'm going to start off right off the bat and say, look, I can't speak for Paul, but I can speak of him. And that's all I can do, and then we'll go from there.
And what kind of guy was he?
Great guy, good guy. Quiet, never said a word, and he played on the championship team.
And what kind of player was he?
He was a good player. He was a good player. He had polio when he was a kid. He limped. And everybody thought, well, you know, he can't play, but boy, he was up and down the floor like the rest of them. He kept up with them and did everything good. First 2 years I came here, of course, we didn't have any ball players or anything like that in the big clubs of ball players. We were 0-16 and 3-11 or something like that. You know, the next year we were 16-3, and we won the George Mikan Award trophy, and he was on that team. See, and they beat. You know, we played teams like St. Francis, St. Bonaventure, Steubenville, you know, Geneva, Westminster, W&J. I mean, we had a real good schedule and so forth. And we won the George Mikan Award, and that's the most improved team in the country. You know, little St. Vincent. You know, that's it was quite an honor, and he was on that ball club. I think Paul was very deserving of this award because of the team he played for and his ability to play good basketball and be a good student. And he made a good life for himself when he graduated. I mean, he was the kind of a guy that St. Vincent really develops. And I'm very proud of him.
I would have to say it all started with Coach Zawacki, being that we were in the first class of women, and that was the first team. So she directed us academically, in sports, emotionally, anything that we needed at the time because there were only 8 of us. So she was there at the drop of a hat for us, so I would have to say she was the primary. There's so many people, it's hard to say. Because we were such a small group, we had a lot of attention from the faculty. My brother Norman, of course, was Brother Norman, not the president. Father Murtha, Father Renee, Father Myron, my advisor, Alice Kaler, was a big factor. Just so many. We had any type of thing that we may have needed was available for us. Senior night was a big night for me. I think of all things, I think senior night meant the most because we finally got to where we needed to be. That was our goal. Not just sports, but academically as well. And we knew we were anticipating graduation, and this was the end, and we were just thrilled to be there, and our parents and the faculty and coach and all those people were there with us. All the people that got us through. I just think that your work ethic, I think it all had to do with your work ethic, both sports and being a student athlete. So I take pride in what I do, and I just think that just all came from my time at St. Vincent, just learning how to focus on things, and if you're going to do it, finish it, get it done right. There's not many times that something doesn't happen during the day or in the event with my family life, with my kids, when they're in school, when they're playing sports and things like that, that I don't remember anything, that something doesn't pop up that reminds me of St. Vincent. I can think of some of the philosophy courses that definitely come back to me, and I think, oh, yeah, okay, now I know what Dr. Meny was talking about. So just everyday things will pop up, and I'll remember, and I'll say, oh, okay, that's right. That makes sense now. So it does happen a lot.
Well, I was a decent enough player back in the day, and there are always those fond memories you have of what happened when you were physically at the school. road trips, school buses that we took back then, you know, getting hit in the face with a puck at the Point Park game and wanting to go back and play, and Coach Farrell saying, no, I think you really need to sit on the bench. Back then, the technical term for a concussion was having your bell rung. But I think really probably most of my satisfaction occurred not necessarily in the playing days, but what happened after my playing days when we had alumni games to sort of keep the sport of ice hockey alive at the college. That was from 84, 85, really up and through the mid-90s when we would solicit alumni to come back, and then we would play a game and then do the typical things, pizza from Hotel Loyal and Joey O's and some beer afterwards. And it was really a wonderful way to sort of reconnect with the people that you lived with. After that, coaching, we had an opportunity to resurrect the team in the 1999-2000 season. Tom Holloway called me and said, would I be interested in coaching? Because I'd been coaching amateurs for a number of years. Took on the responsibility with the idea that I'll do this for 2 or 3 years, get the program started, and someone younger would take over. And here we are 14 years later, still coaching the school. And we've had just some absolutely wonderful players come through. I've coached people that I still think to this day, it's amazing that they came to St. Vincent and played for us. We had back-to-back national tournament appearances, twice finishing, a top 16 team in the country. And when you have a seesaw game at the very end, and then Tommy Ward, who is the second all-time leading scorer at the school, his brother is Matt, who is the leading scorer all-time, very friendly competition. When he scores an overtime goal to win the game in nationals, it was really a pretty exciting event. So when you think about the types of emotions that go through with coaching and the opportunity to lead young people on their life's path, I just found that to be really exciting and enjoyable. It was a way to sort of give back to the school for what it really did for me. It's really hard to say that there was only one individual at the school during my tenure there that had the most significant influence on me. I'd say that there are a number of people, both on the faculty side and on the administrative side. For the older alumni, you absolutely cannot forget Father Herman Eubinger, who used to be the alumni director. He sort of had the role that Tom Holloway did as the general manager of the current team. He helped us raise funds. He was always at every game. We can always remember the orange tassel hat that he used to wear in the stands. And no matter how cold it was, of course, he had sandals and black socks on. So he was just such a tremendous supporter to the team. And it was his approach towards life and the way in which he reached out to people, I think, was very influential from that regards. From an academic perspective, I could name a whole bunch of faculty members, the late Dr. Jim Menney, Father Sebastian Semay, Father Justin Nolan, who most recently has even shown up at some of our games, And what I learned from them in the classroom about life, what the school taught me in terms of a general broad liberal education, really set the ground for a lot of wonderful life opportunities that I was able to take advantage of. So I think it was the whole persona of the school in general, being in a classroom with only 6 or 7 other people where you interacted directly with the professor, the way in which camaraderie was built with your coaches, with people that live with you on the floor. I think we influenced each other as much as the school influenced us.